Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to talk about players you can drop safely. Again, the Droppables episode. I did this last week. Laviska Shenault made my list, and then Chark gets hurt and Shenault goes off, right? That's just how things work, right? Can't plan for injury too much. But what we're going to do in this one, we're going to give you two players each that are owned in over 50% of leagues on ESPN right now that we feel you should feel you can drop safely. Like, and it's not just saying you go out of your way to drop them. It's more of like, okay, you need to make a move. You need to pick somebody else up. These are the guys you can drop if you're, maybe you've had a really good bench and this is the back end of your bench. Don't hesitate. If you really need to make the move, go make a drop here. So we got two players each. Jeff, who's the first guy you're going to pick that you can drop? That means he'll go off in week 5.
Yeah, right. The first guy that I feel fine dropping would be Cole Beasley. He's rostered in 82.1% of ESPN leagues. He's on a good offense. He's going to have a few good games here and there, but I feel like he's one of those that you're going to be lucky if you're playing him during one of those games. And, anyway, I just don't think he has enough upside in order for me to really keep him around if I'm looking to roster someone else that could really benefit me. So Cole Beasley would be one of those guys that I have no issue dropping, and he's owned in over 80% of leagues, which is, significant.
So, and it's not even just that. Emmanuel Sanders has really emerged there, and which is surprising. Like 34-year-old Emmanuel Sanders, he just keeps doing well, and he's emerged. And Beasley, you're going to get some flack for this for Beasley because people are going to be like, oh, he can get catches, PPR or whatever. First off, I hate PPR, but second off, I agree with. He's becoming their third in a way, but it's more like, yeah, you never feel good. Like, okay. And I like to say too, we're talking more 10 team leagues to 12 team leagues right here. We're in that range, right? 10 to 12 team leagues. Yeah. 14 team leagues different. You're not going to drop Cole Beasley on 14. Yeah. So 10 to 12, just get that, that little disclaimer. You don't feel good ever if Cole Beasley's in your starting lineup now, do you? You just don't. Like, right? There's just no way you feel good about that.
No, and if you're starting him, you're not looking for touchdown upside. You're not even looking for yardage. Like you said, you would be probably in a PPR league, and you're kind of like, I hope it's one of the games he catches 10 balls for, whatever, 50 yards. Like, well, that's how he would get his points. And yeah, in 2 of the games, he would have done well in full PPR. But overall, I'm and that is when Josh Allen is, he runs, he throws a manual. Obviously, Diggs is there. You get the tight end involved. Zach Moss is, vulturing touchdowns. There's a lot of weapons there. I just do not ever feel that great about Cole Beasley. And like I said, you're not going out of your way to drop him, but you're dropping these people because you're kind of like, I have to make room for people that could really benefit me. That guy's probably shouldn't be in your lineup.
Yep. All right. My first guy, I'm doubling down on what I said last week because I got a lot of hate for this one, honestly, on Instagram, especially after I posted this. I'm going Kenyan Drake. He's owned in 88% of leagues. Kenyan Drake is not involved in this offense. The talk is always, well, he could get a chance if Jacobs goes down. Jacobs went down, right? Josh Jacobs went down. You know who played? Peyton Barber played. Kenyan Drake is absolutely worthless to me. He is worthless in fantasy. He's probably a fine guy. He's worthless in fantasy football. He had 1 carry for 2 yards this past week. The game where Jacobs is out, he gets 8 carries for 24 yards. Sure, he caught some balls in the first couple of games. He caught 5 balls in each of the first 2 games, but he had 6 carries for 11 yards, 7 carries for 9 yards. He's not worthwhile keeping on a team right now. He's just not, even if he gets an opportunity. Right now, Kenyan Drake is just wasting a spot on your bench that you could go take a shot at somebody. I don't know who, but just anybody, to be honest. Take a shot on anybody. I have no use for Kenyan Drake. And I don't know what this actually like struck a nerve with people last week. And you know what? Screw you guys. Drop him.
Oh, it sounds how you really feel. I besides for that last part, I agree with you.
No, you agree. You agree with that other part too. You agree?
No,
you agree with any Kenyan Drake lover? Screw you.
Yeah, I don't get the love. I mean, completely honest here. I do not get the love. I know that at one point he looked like he had an opportunity to be the real deal, and last year he did pretty well. But how they're using him and what he's been performing at, you're absolutely right. And if he can't get it done when Josh Jacobs is out, he doesn't have much use when he's definitely in. So I would agree with you. I think, and I like that one too, because what percent he's probably owned in
88%.
Yeah. And I think that is a good one to try to go to the highest percentage owned to say, hey, this guy's just not working out. I know why people have him. I know why you drafted him. Totally.
Right, I get that.
But yeah, right now he has not been performing, and even worse, he's buried and you're buried and they're winning, not using him. So there's no reason to restructure the way they're doing it.
Yep. All right. Who's your other pick?
My other pick, and I'm going to go running back as well on this one. It's not as drastic as that, but he is owned in nearly 70% of leagues. But Sony Michelle, look, I get it if you have Henderson and you're using him as a handcuff. I get that. But even when Henderson went down, Sony Michelle didn't look all that good. He doesn't catch a lot of balls, so he's not like a PPR darling at running back. And even when he got 20 catches, he only managed 67 yards out of it. He's just not quite there yet. And I would rather take a shot because he's never going to be in your starting lineup, especially if you have Henderson. I get if there's no one else you want, keep him obviously as a handcuff. But if you're trying to improve your team, I have no issue dropping the guy whatsoever. So Sony Michelle would be one of those guys for me.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with that because he got a shot and it just didn't. He had 20 some carries and he just didn't turn it into much, right? It wasn't great. And so yeah, I'm completely okay with Sony Michelle. I was going to drop him in the league I had him in this week, except I was able to package him in a trade. So I was able to trade him to the Darrell Henderson owner. So go do that if you can, right? But yeah, I'm with you on Sony Michelle. I don't see it. Even if he got the opportunity, it just doesn't seem like. I feel like if he had those 20 carries, but if he gets an opportunity, Henderson goes down, I feel like it's going to be more of let's just see what Stafford can do, slinging the ball around and not really worry on Sony Michelle. So yeah, I'm with you. All right. My other guy, it's going to be a running back as well. And it's a guy who made my list last week as well, but I'm going to double down again. And I think people are going to be blinded by a touchdown this past week, but it's Ronald Jones. So he had a nice touchdown in that game against the Patriots. So it's, on Sunday night, everyone saw it. He looked like on one play, he looked fine, right? But that was one play. Overall in that game, he was 6 carries for 25 yards. Here is Ronald Jones' numbers for the year. 4 carries, 14 yards, 6 carries, 27 yards, 5 carries, 11 yards, then 6 carries, 25 yards. He gets that one touchdown. In the 4 games, he has 1 catch for 9 yards on the season. So this is 4 games so far for Ronald Jones. 21 carries, 77 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 catch, 9 yards. That is 4 games worth of work. Leonard Fournette is clearly overtaken him. But it's not even just that. I don't really care who the starting running back is on this team. That person's not going to be, if Fournette goes down as Ronald Jones, I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, I missed a chance to have Ronald Jones on my team because now he's going to be the guy. I don't think whoever the guy is at running back is going to be amazingly valuable. They're going to sling the ball around too. It's going to be Tom Brady throwing it to Evans and Godwin and Brown and hopefully Gronk soon again. That's what's going to be happening. Ronald Jones, it's not crazy. He's like in 54% of leagues, but he's been a name that people have held on to. But no, you don't need to anymore. Just cut ties. Don't have him waste a spot on your bench. Get rid of Ronald Jones.
Agreed. I mean, there's just, he had a really good year last year. It's too bad to see this happening, but this year is going to be a lost year for him. I mean, that's what it's looking like. You have Tom Brady playing at a very high level, and they're not using him in the passing game. So the upside is so capped. It's unbelievable. I have no issue getting rid of him.
Yep. So, those are our 2 guys. I was to throw some other names to you quick that are up over 50%. Tell me what you think about them.
I was going to say, let me throw in one that the short list. And I think we mentioned him last time, but I know that there's still a little hope for him, but I have no issue dropping Robbie Anderson. And I know he is up there with over 80% as well. And he's also not a PPR darling. They tried to force feed him the ball 11 times last week. He only caught 5 of them. He has not been that deep threat that they once had. I don't know if Darnold and him just aren't on the same page, and maybe they will later on. But right now, I have no issue dropping Anderson.
Yeah, you could tell they try to force feed him. And if what you're going to hold your hat on as a Robbie Anderson person here and be like, well, see, they're trying to get the ball and it's 5 catches, 46 yards, you're not clinging to much. Like you can, just don't, he's Robbie Anderson. Okay. Like just don't worry. Like you're fine. You can find a Robbie Anderson if you need one. Like they're there. There's plenty of these guys. I'd rather have Jamison Crowder. So just, I'd rather have Cole Beasley, to be honest, almost. Anyway, no, it's close. But no,
yeah,
Robbie
if
Anderson,
you're in PPR, I probably would. Yeah.
Yeah, but Robbie Anderson does have some upside. Like we know it's there, but it's just not, I don't know. It's just not happening right now. Again, I'm not saying go drop Robbie Anderson if you just for whatever, but if you need to, Robbie Anderson is more of one of those, if you need the spot, go, find another guy, no problem. But like, yeah, you don't have to go out of your way to do it, but also don't feel bad about doing it. Yeah. So other guys, which I think this is going to go down because what's happening, but Tyson Williams is still like 70% owned. It seems like he's pretty much clearly droppable, I think, at this point with how that Ravens backfield, he was a healthy scratch. So that's not good. So I would be fine. I'm sure you're good with Tyson Williams. If you have to drop him, obviously drop him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm less so than the other ones because you're kind of just hoping. And here's my thing with him. That's a very interesting one because
it is. Yeah.
I haven't seen the other running backs do anything that is really exciting. I haven't seen Williams do anything exciting either. Don't get me wrong. But I think that there's still a chance for him to carve out a major role there. But it's going to be a long process. It's going to be over the entire course of the year. So I agree with you, but he does have upside still for me just because I'm like Latavius, even though I mean, everyone knows I was kind of like, oh, he'd be the one I want. Technically, I'm right, but he has not done as well as I thought he was going to do. I mean, you have Devontae Freeman, you have a bunch of old running backs. And, at some point, I just feel like Tyson might make the comeback.
Right. How about so Jalen Rager's owned in 58% of leagues yet.
He was another one that was on my short list. No issue dropping him.
It's just not happening, right? It's just not happening.
No.
How about Robert Tanyan, whatever you want to call him.
I have no issue with that too.
He's
I'm a
80% of leagues. Yeah, he's at 80% of leagues right now.
I mean, look,
I know tight end tight end's obviously slim, but he has 8 catches for 74 yards in the entire season.
Yeah, he had one game where he caught a touchdown in week 2 against Detroit.
Yeah,
and you're kind of like, okay, I realize with tight end it's touchdown dependent,
but drop him.
He's not in the plans, and his entire thing was based on like a 3 or 4 week window of last year where he did incredibly well, and then everything else was a ghost land.
Yep.
Could that happen again? Sure, but you're grasping at straws here. I would much rather have a different tight end that could possibly bust
there's
out.
Not a lot of tight end options, but I'd rather have Dawson Knox. I'd rather have Dalton Schultz, like those kind of guys, like who are more involved in their teams.
I'd much rather have. I would take a risk on Jonnu Henry and Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. I like both of those guys' upside a lot more.
I'd probably rather have Jared Cook.
Yeah, I mean, even they're trying to get the ball to. I mean, this one sounds bad, but they're trying to get the ball to Evan Ingram. I would probably rather have him than Tanyan.
Yeah, he's just not in plans anymore. Nothing.
Yeah.
No. But all right, those are a couple of names. I don't know if you have any other names on your short list that you considered, or that's pretty much what we got.
I think that's pretty much it.
Yep.
We kind of nailed them.
If you need to drop some guys, go ahead. You know what? We're only a couple weeks away from Myles Gaskin making this list. Just a prediction of mine. I'm not telling you to do it yet, obviously, but Myles Gaskin will make this list in a few weeks. I guarantee you.
You're right. Here's 2 other names, and they're a little more. I guess this would be more just to piss people off. But I want like, seriously, if you have a stacked team for whatever reason, and the first name I'm going to throw out there is Marvin Jones Jr.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good.
You have no issue with that?
I really don't.
A good first 2 weeks, and then he kind of reverted back to what I assume he's going to be.
Okay,
I mean, I can understand he's useful, right? But at the same time, he's nothing crazy, and he's rostered in 94% of leagues.
See, it's a similar argument to what I was talking about with Beasley. I get these players I get why they're on rosters. I 100% understand it. But I've always felt like if they're in your starting lineup, you're feeling pretty terrible about yourself. If they're in your starting lineup before bye weeks, you don't feel good at all about it. So yeah, Marvin Jones is one of those guys. I don't love that Jacksonville offense. Like in anything, they played better this past last week, but nothing about Jacksonville. That whole team's a mess. Urban Meyer's a mess. So
no. He is handling his business. His life is fine.
Yeah, no issues, right? The dude didn't even fly home with his team after that game. Like
he is gonna lose half his stuff, man.
Yes, he will.
There's one more name I want to bring up, and he is currently rostered in 95.4% of leagues. And I am serious when I actually say this. I never thought I would say this. Juju. Right now, this is his week and how it's been going. And this is a lot of it is Pittsburgh has just not been doing well, right? You have Deontay Johnson, you have Claypool. Obviously, Najee is getting a lot of touches. First week, 4 receptions for 52 yards. And then week 2 against Las Vegas, 6 catches, 41 yards. Then 3 catches for 25, 2 catches for 11. He hasn't caught a touchdown yet. The only time he went in double digits is because in week 2, he got 1 rushing touchdown that was for 3 yards, which is not going to be the usual.
It's crazy.
He's never going to be in your lineup. I mean, once again, and with the offense and the way it goes, it's a little more crowded. Big Ben does not look the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Unless they switch out quarterbacks, I don't know what would change for him. So, like, in all seriousness, what do you think about Juju? 95% of people own him.
He is extremely close to being on this list, I would say. Maybe he's not there this week, but if we get, he's been putting up these bad games with so 2 weeks ago, there was no Deontay Johnson. This past week, there's no Chase Claypool. They haven't had the full receivers, and he still can't put up numbers. What happens when everyone's healthy? When Chase Claypool's back and Deontay's still there? Like, what happens? Where do his catches come from? And Ben Roethlisberger, this isn't all Juju. Roethlisberger's done. He's done. And there's nobody waiting behind him that can come in and play. Like, they did not plan this. Yeah, right? I guess he's
the only one.
Maybe, you know what? Haskins is probably better at this point. Like the way honestly, from what I've seen from Roethlisberger, he truly is.
Yeah, in preseason, I honestly would probably give him the opportunity.
Roethlisberger is holding this team back, and now I think I know why they have nobody. If you saw like the whole him and Rodgers and Tomlin looking at each other during the game, Tomlin wants Rodgers. I think Rodgers wants Tomlin, so we might see that next year.
Oh my God, dude, Rodgers could light that up with that offense.
Yeah, I know it. After he saw that, I think that would be a great opportunity for Rodgers to go to. He should. Roethlisberger's done. He's going to hold these guys back. He's going to hold in. If I would say one more week of Juju with like 3 catches for 15 yards, there's no point. At that point, you're holding a name. You're holding name value. That's it.
Right now I would try to, and you probably can't do anything straight up, even though I would take nearly anything for Juju at the moment. I would try to package him with someone else and get one player and just say he's a throw-in. And most people, depending on how large the other names are, most people would be like, man, I don't want him. Don't take him out. Take him out of the trade. I would probably take anything I could for him at this point. I just don't think there's a lot of upside. And it's not because he doesn't have I don't know.
It's the whole team. Like, I don't trust that offense. I don't trust Ben. Yeah. I don't trust it. So
he wasn't all that good last year either. Let's be honest. Like, he really hasn't been the same ever since Antonio Brown left.
There's a reason why he only signed a 1-year, like $8 million deal when these days when wide receivers are getting big contracts. And Juju, can you imagine? Who would have ever thought? It's crazy. Like, it's crazy to think Juju at like 24 years old, 25 years old, whatever he is, 24 years old, after having a massive year when he was 22, he doesn't even get a long-term deal. Like, man, you would have never thought that. This guy
2 years ago, teams would have paid him whatever they wanted, thinking that they have their number one wide receiver locked up for a decade.
Look at somebody like Galladay gets all kinds of big money. Like, and Juju can't get anything.
He played like 3 games last year.
Man, crazy. Juju, that is a one big fall. Like, it is. You don't usually see it like that.
No, that's almost like it's more than I was going to say. It's kind of like a Beckham fall, but at least Beckham is injury.
Yeah, I say this is not even injury based. And he was 22 when he put up that. Antonio Brown, I guess people didn't appreciate the impact that Antonio Brown had, because that's why Juju did what he did. It's having Antonio Brown opposite of him.
Oh yeah. Being number 2 is definitely suits him a lot better. But
now it's just,
I don't want to crap on the guy too much, because you're absolutely right. Big Ben had a wonderful career and he was a very good quarterback.
He's just done now. He's done.
Yeah. He does not look good.
He can't play. He cannot play. He's holding them back completely. And if they don't make a switch, mean, shoot, never would have thought of it. Yeah, Haskins might be a better option. So Rudolph's not, but
no, that's not going to prove anything.
No, but all right, that'll do it. That'll do it for today. Talk to you guys next time.